Greetings, dear readers. I am back with another video. Today I am going to show you 10 books that changed my life. Now, of course, there are much more books that changed my life, but I decided to pick those that had some impact on me. I picked 10 categories on how these books changed my life, and if there are books that change your life too, write them down in the comments. Let's get started. I'm going to start with the book that revived my life for reading, and that's Martin Eden by Jack London. I remember very well that in 2013 I had exams in July. On the 16th of July, or I think it wasn't 16th, but anyway, in July 2013, when I eventually finished my exams, I went to my aunt's house and I found this book, although not this copy, and read it in 2 days. Well, it's such a magnificent story about a guy who saves a rich guy's life, and then he meets his sister, and then he tries to impress her by improving himself. It's a very interesting story of a struggle. Anyway, this book is amazing. I recommend this. If you are into From Rags to Riches story, this one is for you. Now, the next book is actually a book I found in the library. This is actually category of a favorite book which isn't originally written in English, and that's 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I hope I pronounced that right. This book is very interesting family saga. It's about the building of a town named Macondo, and about the Buendia family, their struggles. My copy literally says that the Buendia family gives birth to the saints and sinners, revolutionaries, heroes and traitors, and women that are too gorgeous for an ordinary life. Well, at first this book made me feel kinda depressed, but by the end I was really happy. This book is one of my favorites, and then I bought my own copy. Never thought that I would find one of the best books of my life in a library. I understand that this book, you might struggle with this book because there are literally 2 names for nearly all male characters, but believe me, but sooner or later you'll get used to that. Moving on, now the next book is a book that scared me. You might think I'd show you Stephen King, but no, it's 1984 by George Orwell. There are 3 acts in this book, and the 3rd one scared me so much. I won't tell you why, that would be a spoiler, but the 3rd act is legit very scary, because I think that's something that could happen in real life. These are actually some of my favorite moments in the book. Next, I'm going to show you the book that opened my eyes to many things. When I read the book, I read the book in 2014. At the time I was a university student studying international relations. This book actually came to me at the right time. I really learned to appreciate my faculty more, and that's A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I'm showing you the first book here, although my favorite is second. This book showed me some things, the best and worst in humans. George R.R. Martin showed me how far could people go for power and how they could easily manipulate each other, and that mistakes had consequences. Of course, there was also the show, and I was very, very obsessed with A Song of Ice and Fire around 5 years ago. And my obsession slowly came to end when the show ended. Yes, I think the show's ending is kinda weak, but I don't despise it. If you haven't read this, read this. Next comes the book which made me suffer a lot. I actually have a love-hate relationship with this book. It's too complex. But at the same time, this is actually the book where I found the idea for my novel, and that's The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien, edited by Christopher Tolkien. I read this book back in January 2014. Back then I thought either this book is way too smart or I am too dumb to understand it. It's a very interesting addition to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and the Middle-earth books in general. It's basically the Bible of Middle-earth. I read this book again in January 2020 and I suffered a lot. Lots and lots of suffering. But then came Beren and Luthien chapter, my suffering slowed down. The reason I love the tale of Beren and Luthien so much because it's the only chapter that didn't make me suffer and actually brought me joy. Next book comes the most underrated book category. Many of his fans don't like this book. They say it's too weak, but I actually love it so much. I read it in 2015 when I was still in university, and this brings me back to the joyful days of university. But this story is, yes, it's light. That's Joyland by Stephen King. I really don't understand why people don't like this book so much. This is actually a very interesting detective with quite a pleasant lead character, which is kinda wish fulfillment, I'd say, because there are some opportunities for him and he manages to do some interesting things. During his work in Joyland, in the oh my gosh, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's a place where there are roller coasters and lots and lots of fun. Anyway, this story is light, is very nice, and it actually has a very nice ending. I liked it. I'd read it again, and I really love this edition. I think it's very beautiful. It's definitely better than the original cover. Next book I'm going to show you is the book that made my imagination work. I was reading this book and I felt like I was watching a high-budget HBO or Netflix or even BBC TV show, and that's The First Law by Joe Abercrombie. This is the second book before they are hanged. Here. I remember how I got into The First Law. It was 2017. Game of Thrones season 7 came to end, and I was in the mood for similar books. I went to the store, and then suddenly I saw this. Well, not this one, but the first one, the blade itself. I read the annotation, and then I was like, oh, this sounds very interesting, I should read this. Believe me, there was no hype. At least I haven't encountered it. I haven't encountered Joe Abercrombie's name on the internet, but when I bought the book and began reading it, and then the entire series too, I was like, how come this isn't a TV show yet? These major studios like Amazon and Netflix and searching for the next Game of Thrones, so adapt this. This makes a good TV show. It would be successful. Now I want to show you the most expensive book in my collection. Yes, it costed quite a lot, and it was a little bit offensive to see so many discounts on this book when I paid so much money, but it was worth it anyway. So it's the Ichbac by J.K. Rowling. As you can see, the book is very beautiful. It's great hardcover, and oh, this is a nice bookmark. This came to me with the book when I ordered it. This is how the book looks from the inside. I paid around 82 lari. That's quite expensive for a book, but it was worth every single lari. First of all, I really like the paper. I also really like the font. I also like some images in this book. I know very well the story behind this book's creation, that J.K. Rowling decided to entertain kids on Twitter, and she announced a contest the Ichbac contest, and the winners got their pictures published in this book. What a nice dragon. Oh wait, that's not a dragon, sorry. The story itself is amazing as well. This book is aimed at children around 9 to 11 years old. I read this at 26, and this isn't a children's fairy tale. This is a political thriller disguised as a children's fairy tale. If you add some mature scenes, this would be probably Game of Thrones. There were moments in this book when I was like, Joanne, you have already done this. These plot points, I am familiar with them. You have done that before. Now here come two books which I both read in 2016. I read the one I'm going to show you right now, I read first. I read it during summer and online. It was before I bought myself a physical copy. It was amazing, it thrilled me a lot, excited me, and it's one of my favorite books. But then I was like, yeah, oh, they're sequels. Okay, I don't really care. The first one was enough for me. And that's Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. This book is amazing, and it's better off as a standalone. For me, it's a standalone. I don't really care about the sequels. If you haven't read Ender's Game, I recommend it so much. Well, why some moments in this book were way too severe, and I was like, but he's only a child. Stop that. Now comes the last book for my video. I also read in 2016, read in December. This category is book I wish I wrote. And that's The Book Thief by Marquez Zusak. Zusak? Did I pronounce his name right? When I think of my favorite books, this always comes to my mind first. Not The Hobbit, not Harry Potter, not anything else. This comes the first to my mind. What do we have here? We have a main character named Liesel, who is adopted and goes to live with her foster parents. The story is set in Nazi Germany, and when things get worse, the war starts and so on, she begins to steal books, and she finds escape in them. This is actually a magnificent story about the power of words. I love all 6 main characters, even Rosa. At first I found her so annoying, especially when she be like, "Thou Mensch." I really want to jump into this book and befriend all the main characters. These are some of my favorite moments. And one honorable mention, which I should have shown earlier. This book absolutely changed my life. These books, and they awoke a writer in me in general. They are the reason I grew to love fantasy and why I want to write. And that's it. These are all the 10 books, well, technically 11, that changed my life. What are books that changed your life? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.